Hello and welcome to a draft video here on my YouTube channel. I'm back, baby! My name is Ethan, also known as Lord Tupperware. We're doing a Dominaria Draft. This is just a couple days, actually, this is just day 2 after the format dropped on Magic Online, prepping for GP Columbus. And let's dive right in. Joyra Weatherlight Captain is a card I've not had a chance to play with or against, and this seems like a perfect time to try out a rare. Seems pretty good, although maybe in a weak color pair, but blue-red is not the color pair that's impressed me that much, but 4 mana for a 3/3 Hill Giant, that's totally fine. And that historic spell, draw card, trigger can get out of hand quite quickly. I think Song of Freyalise, I'm not sure which it is. Not looking for comments also on pronunciation. I think that's probably the second best card in the pack, with Juggernaut and Deathbloom Thallid sort of rounding it out. Sapling Migration also good, but let's take Joyra here. I think she also might be a couple ticks. Go check that out real quick. Looks like not. Looks like she's a 1 tick. So not super super big pickup there. Okay, so here we've got a much less exciting pack. There's another Diligent Excavator. That's a pretty sweet card if you're trying to mill people out, though I don't think that's really a strategy. Tashar, Ancestor's Apostle, I think is good. We've got another rare that cares about historic spells. It's historic itself. And I think while this is a blue-red card, this probably wants to be more at home in white-blue. That's sort of the color pair that cares about historic the most. Fixing is not abundant, nor it's quite the opposite actually in this format. So, but perhaps with enough historic matters triggers, we can put the dreaded Navigator's Compass into our deck. I'm not happy with starting off with 2 4-drops in this format. I think that is something that's going to be easy to come by in this draft format, but starting off with some good payoffs for historic, having a good clear direction, I like all of that quite a bit. Okay, so rares aside, we're not seeing anything great for what we've got going on. I could just grab a Gitu Journey Mage, so I think this card is pretty weak. I'm seeing some good green cards in Spore Swarm and Yavimaya Sapherd, and there's a Partick Wanderer, which is totally fine, very serviceable. I like the card quite a bit, but I think we can get them a lot later, and we probably only want 1. But they are good, and they do trigger Historic Matters synergies. I think I'm probably just going to dip my toe out a little bit here and grab a Yavimaya Sapherd. I think Spore Swarm is probably better on average, though I'm not even sure if that's true, than the Sapherd. But just trying to lower my curve a little bit, grab a good 3-drop here, stay open, and if we end up, not playing it, that's totally fine. Again, I don't feel like I'm missing out on a ton. Keldon Raider also good, but I think I'd rather be leaning white-red than white-blue than white-red for this draft. So here we see a not super exciting pack again, though Blink of an Eye is a card that I think is quite strong, though again it is technically probably a 4-drop more often than not. I'm going to grab that here. It's not a lot of good green. I do like Wild Onslaught maybe if you've got enough of the Go Wide life, but again, another 4-drop or probably later drop. So I want to try and shore up some early plays if I can. And Blink of an Eye, it's not disastrous to fire this off for 2 mana if you feel like you're getting value in some way off of it. But I'm going to grab Blink over Divination. And Divination is honestly probably what I would take if Blink weren't here. I'm not ready to grab Sarah Disciple just yet. Okay, so we've got a Blood Tallow Candle. So that's going to be one of our little Historic Matters triggers. And there's not much else for us. There's a Mammoth Spider, which I think is quite good. But I'm not convinced that green is where I want to be. I would like to be able to take advantage of these cool historic spells if I can. So I'm going to grab the Blood Tallow Candle here. It's also a fine, clunky removal spell, I think. Sage of Latnam, I believe, is probably not a card, unfortunately. I just don't think there's enough artifacts floating around for you to sacrifice. Nothing making like servos or treasure tokens in this format, so you really can't abuse this the way that you might want to. Ooh, there's a historic spell right there. So there's a Flame of Keld, which I think is strong, but probably for more of an aggressive deck, which we could end up being. What else am I taking here? Saproling Migration. The problem with Saproling Migration is that it really leads me down a path where I can't play these rares, and maybe I'm letting these warp my draft too much. I don't feel like I've passed a ton of like great green or anything. You know, the pack with the Sapherd and the Saproling Swarm was strong, but that's about it. Kind of want to try out this Flame of Keld, though it's probably incorrect to grab here. But again, what else am I taking? I could take a Wizard's Retort or an Arcane Flight. Well, let's take a Flame. Can I do it? Yeah, let's try it. Let's try it out. Might be on the aggro crag plan. Okay, so we've got some historic spells here. There's a Guardians of Koilos, which not only is historic itself, but has a little bit of historic synergies, and it's colorless, which I like, because I feel like I'm waffling around quite a bit. This is probably not going to make my deck. Fire Intervention might be a card that I have to take, considering I have no removal just yet, though the Blood Tallow Candle is basically as clunky as the Intervention is. Short Sword, another cheap way to trigger historic, but I'm not crazy about this card. We've got another Spider as well, so maybe green was where we're supposed to go, like go Spider, Sapling Swarm Spider, but I'm going to stick to my garbage historic guns here and move on with the Guardians of Koilos. Alright, I kind of want to take a Power Stone Shard. This could be fine with Flame of Keld, like allowing us to empty our hand before we cast it. I don't know, I'm going to get this Sapherd out of here and try and go some sort of junk Jeskai deck here for science. Keldon Overseer is a fine 3-mana 3/1, probably on blocks, in which case I'd probably rather take a Gitu Journey Mage. But again, I think I'd rather be not red-blue if possible. I'm going to take a Shard here. That could be a huge mistake. So here, can I take a Diligent Excavator and then get the other Diligent Excavator to wheel? Start to mill people out with my historic value. There's an Excavation Element, though I feel like I should be able to get those, and there's a Jousting Lance, but I don't know if that's like where I want to be at. I'm going to take the Excavator here and try and wheel the other one. Did not, but we get another Power Stone Shard, so that's cute. Try and grab maybe some card draw. Let's just spin our wheels a little bit. There's the Partic Wanderer that we were hoping for. We might get another one, who knows. Radiating Lightning is probably a fine sideboard card for us at some point. Unwind, sure. And a Tragic Poet even. We have no enchantments other than Flame of Keld right now. So what's our deck probably looking at like is blue, like blue-white splashing red at the moment, though we could be blue-red splashing white. Not a terrible way to round out the pack. I mean, we have some bad cards, but they kind of synergize together, and I think they could be good. This returns just a creature with converted mana cost 3 or less. Okay. So we could be milling ourselves and then returning creatures. Could all be fine. Alright, what have we here? Well, not a ton of great cards for us. What does Marwyn do? Whenever another elf enters the battlefield under your control, you put a ++1 counter on it. That can't be good. That's just got to be way worse than Llanowar Elves. There's a War Chief, an Orcish Vandal. Now, Vandal is a little more intriguing to me than Draw a Card. I feel like Shock is better than Draw a Card on average. It should wheel. I mean, if people want this card, we're kind of in trouble probably. I think with all of that said, I'm just going to take Cloud Reader Sphinx. It's a good, just 5 mana 3/4, Scry 2 flying is so strong, so good for 5 mana. I'm going to grab that here. I really want Vandal to be good, and maybe it wheels and we'll start sacking some Power Stone Shards or something, or get some Skittering Surveyors and then sacrifice them and then get them back with Tashar. Now we're talking. Now we're talking with the Wombly Comblies. Okay. Alright, there's a Sentinel of the Pearl Trident, which is very cute with historic stuff. Probably what I'm supposed to take here, though again, should wheel. And there's a Fiery Intervention. Actually, maybe I should lower my curve and hope that this wheels. I think I'm going to lower my curve, grab a Mesa Unicorn, maybe try and dig into blue-white, splashing red. Hopefully something wheels, right? Some expensive stuff could wheel. Could try this out for science. This could just be the full science draft here for YouTube. There's this guy, there's this guy. I mean, Slyn Voda's perhaps castable with some Power Stone Shards. Fiery Intervention, Sergeant Arms, or another Partic Wanderer would be fine. So we should be able to wheel something. Just going to grab this Unicorn. Ooh. So now we get, yeah. Now we're going to take Triumph of Gerard. Another historic spell. A historic spell that we could get, an enchantment we could get back with like Tragic Poet. This card is just good, and giving creatures lifelink I think is very strong, especially even in a controlling deck. I think that this is going to be good, and if not, we'll find out. I'm not ready to call Navigator's Compass a card yet in this deck, but it could be. It could be. The power of Joyra could really just could ring out. Alright, so we've got a Deep Freeze and an Aven Sentry. So clunky removal spell and Flying Wincon. I think I'm on clunky removal spell over the 4-drop here. So I feel like once we turn the tide, we'll be attacking in the air maybe, or just like grinding out some value, and being able to just shut something down for a bit sounds pretty good to me. Even though I think this card is not strong, but it's a necessary evil. We don't have any removal other than the candle right now, and we're going to need some. Set is interesting. This is the weirdest draft I've had yet for sure. Okay, so here I do want to make sure we get an Excavation Elephant, but I don't think I want to grab one now. Voldalian Arcanist is a card I seem to like a lot more than most, but it's not really ramping us into anything other than Blink of an Eye. I'm going to grab a Divination here. I think that's going to help offset some of the clunky cards that we have to play, like the Shards, and just help us dig into our more powerful things that we're doing. But yeah, Excavation Elephant I think is something that we are going to want, at least one of. Is now the time we take it? I think so. We could also just grab Sanctum Spirit. Sanctum Spirit could be pretty interesting. Discarding historic spells, getting them back with Tashar or future elephants. I think 4 mana 3/2 lifelink is probably something this deck is going to need to recoup some of its life while we're dirtling around. Yeah. Interesting deck. So we currently have no fixing for Joyra. Haven't seen a single Skittering Surveyor. We have seen a Compass, so I may want to play a Compass. But that does scare me a little bit. I like that all of our mana is single color requirements, and we do have a number of colorless spells. That makes me happy. Looking like we're base blue with the other colors. Base blue. Ooh, Antiquities of War. Oh, that's not the one that I think it is. That's not the one that that finds instants and sorceries. Even though that's not very good for us either. I keep thinking like, oh, we have all these non-creature spells. No, that's not how that's going to work. Okay, so I'm not going so deep on Artificer's Assistant, and our wizard count unfortunately is 0, so Fire Fist Adept is out, even, and especially that's on the splash. I think it's now down to Power Stone Shard Numero Trace or Aven Sentry, and I think it's time for a Sentry. I don't think I need all these Power Stone Shards. I probably don't need one of them, let alone 2, but they're in the deck right now. I'm going to take the opportunity. Ooh, another Deep Freeze. I think we may need the clunky removal spell. I could take another Blood Tallow Candle. And again, I want an Excavation Elephant, but I don't probably want more than one. I feel like I can get them later. I'm going to just grab another clunky Deep Freeze here. Clunky Deep Freeze. Deep Freeze is also something we could get back with Tragic Poet. Alright, so there's an Orcish Vandal. And what else do we have? I mean, again, what artifacts do we have? We have the shards that we can destroy, but that's it. I might just take a 3 mana 2/3, or maybe a 2 mana 3/1. Yeah, maybe just a 2-drop for the in case I need a 2-drop plan. Sounds better to me. Nice. All right, so we got Sentinel of the Pearl Trident on the wheel, which I think I'm going to put in this deck. I've already got one Saga that it can work with. And it's nice with Tashar and Joyra. Alright, so we got a Compass. It's also a Sergeant at Arms. God, am I really going to play Compass here? Just like trash talked it on the podcast, on stream. But everyone seems to be liking it. I think I'm going to grab it here. Could be so wrong passing up Sergeant at Arms for it. I'll take a Rescue over Charge. I don't know. Nice. Got an Elephant. That feels good. Got a Rescue. I'm not going to play these cards. Okay. So, early plays seem necessary, though we have the 2 shards to ramp us into our more expensive stuff. The deck doesn't look half bad to me, but it has very little interaction and definitely can get run over by more assertive decks. Ooh, piece of candy. Wow. Well, I mean, there's probably an argument that Icy Manipulator is a better card, but History of Benalia is not only like 16 bucks, but feels like it's pretty good in this deck, being a historic spell. That's an enchantment that we're probably going to want to get back. That may bring in Tragic Poet. It's cute with Sentinel, the Pearl Trident. Just got a lot of little interactions with it. And hopefully we'll wheel like Invoke the Divine as a sideboard option. But History of Benalia, get in my belly. Sounds good to me. This is exciting. I'm excited to see this deck play out. I don't know if it's going to be good. We really want Skittering Surveyor. I'd love to upgrade the Compass to a Surveyor or 2 as just like good little artifacts that we want to get back. Or that we... Just like they're just going to have so many synergies in our deck. They're going to trigger Historic. We can get them back with Tashar, get them back with Elephant. It's going to be good. Blink them with Guardians, of course, or blink them with Sentinel. Bounce them with Guardians. The Surveyor is probably like the highest pick for us. Sucks that we had to pass an Icy, but no one's going to feel bad for me here with the History of Benalia in our pile. Ooh, okay. I like Baird. 4 mana, 2/4. It's, again, it's going to trigger Historic. And it's going to make attacking pretty difficult, not pretty difficult, a little bit more difficult for our opponents. And I would not mind wheeling a Voltaic Servant, a 2 mana 1/3 that triggers Historic and is Historic itself, or that those are the same thing, is going to be nice. But I'm going to grab this Baird here. And we might be upgrading Aven Sentry? I don't know. We'll see. Aven Sentry's not doing a ton in this deck other than like being a flying threat, but that's what Sphinx is for. That's what Tashar is for. Yeah, this Tragic Poet might do work. This Tragic Poet might just do work. Diligent Excavator is so bad right now. Like, maybe if we had 2 or 3, but just the 1 seems pretty bad. The only reason I like it is it's an early play, and we don't have a lot of those. I mean, we've got a couple 1s, but they don't actually do anything. Gideon's Reproach. What a great pickup. What a great pickup for us. 2 mana removal spell. What more could I ask for other than I've not gotten to play with the Slimy Boy yet. I would really like to, but not going to be mad about grabbing Gideon's Reproach here, snapping that up. See what else the turn brings here. Board the Weatherlight. This, if it's not good in any deck, if it's not good in this deck, it's not good in any deck. And let me tell you, it's not good in any deck. I mean, it does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 targets right now, but that's still not really where you want to be. I'm going to take another Cloud Reader Sphinx here. I feel less bad about having these 5s when we've got the 2 Power Stone shards. Yeah, I don't really want another Knight of New Benalia. We have 1 on the board at the moment and could bring it in, but I'm just going to grab Sphinx here. Can a brother get a Skittering Surveyor 1 Time Dealer, please? Blink of an Eye? Sergeant at Arms? I think Blink of an Eye is going to be better than Sergeant at Arms, but I could be wrong. I could be quite wrong about that. Again, just being able to bounce our stuff feels relevant, and bouncing their stuff is good. It's all good. Bouncing things is good. I'm going to just take it. I'm just going to take it and play it. There's a Trapper, which is more likely just a 3 mana 3/2 in our deck because we're not very assertive, so that tapping is not going to be the most relevant, but it might come up. It just might come up. I'm going to grab that. I don't know if we're playing it. Knight of New Benalia may just be better on average in our deck. Well, Call the Cavalry is just what I want to help gum up the ground while we dirtle around with our Historic Matters triggers. So I'm going to grab that here for sure. It's also a nice little combo with History of Benalia. I'm not going to get it, am I? Am I going to have to run 2 Navigators Compassi? Compus? What's the plural of compass? It's not compasses. We did wheel Invoke the Divine for the board. That's good. And Healing Grace, sure. I just don't want to play it. I would just rather run 2 mountains and call it a day. Like do like 9-6-2 maybe? No. Nothing here for us. Nothing here for us. Maybe it's better than one of the Blink of an Eyes. Or maybe it's better than one of the Power Stone Shards. Maybe both are better than Power Stone Shard. Is that possible? That can't be possible. I think we'll play 1 and 1. 1-2-2. I make up for card or lack of like this not being a card with Divination, with Blinks, with Joyra, with Tashar, with the 2 Sphinx in a way. That looks shiny. So I wonder if it's worth it. I can't believe I'm going to play it. I think I am. 9-6-2? 1 and 1. Is there another card that I may want instead? I think 9-6-2 with a Compass seems okay. And we've got a Shard as well. Yeah, I'm going to do that. But maybe 2 Compass is better than... No, I think 1 Shard, 1 Compass. And do... Or 9... And now this is... Oh, 9... Yeah, 9... 9-6-2. That's what I want. And 9 white, 6-2 with 1 Compass. Okay. Let's try this out. See you for match 1.